Ladies and gentlemen, you guys have been waiting for this all morning long. I figured, Mr. Patterson, you would be, I didn't want to make you blush and read all your accolades to you. So
just say accolades.
Exactly, yeah.
Sold a lot of books, whatever. That's enough.
He's done it all. So I told everybody already how amazing you are. So they've been waiting. But James has an amazing billing story, too. We were just talking off the air there, and you essentially credit our entire community.
When I was a baby, I was 25 years old or whatever, hadn't published anything, and I had three authors that I really liked. One was Thomas McGuane, and he lived in Billings at that point. So I sent a note, and he sent me back a postcard, which I still have on my desk, and the postmark on it is Billings, Montana, and he said, "Dear Jim, write a good book. Your pal or your buddy Thomas McGuane."
Yeah, I love it. We have a lot of good. There's recently here we had a Pulitzer Prize winning author that just bought a place out here in Billings too, Richard Ford. I don't know if you're familiar with his work.
Okay, sure I do. Yeah, I do.
Richard Ford's out here in Billings now. Like this is kind of the mecca. I'm just saying, Mr. Patterson, if you need a
James
little.
Lee Burke is out in Montana, right?
I believe so. I think I know.
He's terrific. Really, really talented man.
I know Florida is very different than Montana. I think this might be a good little family getaway for you guys.
All right. Okay.
I'm just throwing it out there. James, let's talk a little bit before we get in. Well, let's talk about the book in case I get too carried away here. The book already, I mean, I'm sure you obviously are probably well aware, this book has sold more copies than any book has sold for adults since Harper Lee's posthumous release of her sequel to Kill a Mockingbird. I mean, this book is already breaking records, and it just came out.
Yeah, and we're doing it as live people.
I know.
Imagine if we were... Yeah. No, it's doing really well, and I think the reason is just the authenticity. Anything that happens in here, I mean, I can spin a tale, but then, with President Clinton, there's a cyber security risk in this thing, and if it happened, this is how it would happen, and it's a devastating attack against America. There's an attack against the presidential limousine. If it happened, this is how it would happen. The president has to disappear. He has to give up his Secret Service detail. If it happened, and it could happen, this is how it would happen. So, and I think that's what grabs readers. It's like, the pages are turning, but you're learning something kind of at every page. And it's not a political book.
No.
I'm not a Democrat, and and we didn't set out to write a political book. We set out to write a book about the kind of things that can happen to a president.
Yeah, it's a James Patterson book. I mean, it's a thriller. It's it's a page turner, like you said. And I wish, just for the sake of the interview, you would have made it more of a like a 60, 70 pager. But I mean, you got a full on almost 525 pages in that bad boy. I mean, this is a full on vacation sit on the beach read.
Yeah, your money's worth here.
Yeah, exactly. What was it like? Obviously, you've worked with, you've written, I believe, 70,000 books. You've written with a lot of...
I think it's like only 60,000.
60,000, yeah.
You're exaggerating,
Very prolific here. What was it like? I know you've worked with, and collaborated with a lot of great authors. What was it like working with Bill Clinton? I mean, we've interviewed him on the show before, and I know he's a great guy. I mean, and easy to talk to, but what was it like?
He's a really good storyteller. It couldn't have been better. We never had any fights. There were no arguments along the way. So it was a delight.
How do you feel about, in some of the, the analysis of the book, and a lot of the reviewers I'm hearing feel like that the president in this book is like an idealized Bill Clinton. Like he had a chance to finally write a president that he would love to have been himself.
Look, everybody's going to read into things what they want to read into it, and that's fine. That's as it should be. This is not Bill Clinton. He is a Southern. He's the president in this book. Jonathan Duncan. He's from North Carolina. So there's that similarity. This president has lost his wife. This president is a war hero in the book. So there are a lot of dissimilarities, and there is an impeachment area, and that this book deals with, and obviously that was, President Clinton went through that as well. But it's not Bill Clinton.
Yeah, there you.
And he was not. This isn't him trying to, whatever.
Trying to.
As I said, it really isn't political.
Yeah, that's the vibe I'm getting from what I've read before too. I love the way it's written too, for people that haven't looked into it or seen anything about it. It's written from the president's perspective. I mean, the president's kind of describing to you what life is like as the president, and all of a sudden with this giant, cyber attack launched on America, who's doing it? How do we save it? How is he? And honestly, too, I mean, what a great story. We hear a little bit about the security of the infrastructure in this country, but we haven't ever experienced a real attack on it yet. So it's going to be very interesting.
We've had little baby attacks. I mean, you had, East Coast goes down for a few hours. You have, obviously, whatever happened in the elections, which I don't think, had any lasting effect in the election, but clearly you don't want anybody messing with our elections. But that's minor compared to what happens in the book.
Yeah.
But the important thing is, I mean, even though it's a thriller, the cyber attack on this book, and we had the best experts in the country, doing research for us and then vetting the book, this could happen. And this isn't a case of like the lights going out in Montana for, 4 hours. This is like everything goes down and it doesn't come back. Everything's erased. Your medical records, go on. Your bank accounts, go on. Wall Street, go on. And then how does the country recover from that? So it's it's fascinating, and it is real. I mean, it's a real threat. And right now we have a big defense budget, as we should, but it's $680 billion or something like that. But almost none of it is for cybersecurity. It's only $15 billion, for cybersecurity. And I think both the president and I believe that part of the budget should be a lot bigger, because we think that's the biggest threat the United States faces right now.
That's very true. Well, I mean, speaking of other threats, though, too, have you started, skeletoning out your idea for your next book about the Space Force now? That's the next big thing?
I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see if there's.
We haven't. We're thinking about another book, but we'll see what happens.
There you go. I got that. I mean, speaking of the books here, obviously we're talking to James Patterson. The President is Missing is the name of this blockbuster bestseller already. I mean, it's just a perfect summertime book for your. If you got time to take some time off and just really get into something. I mean, or if you just want a book for after work. I mean, this is a great book. Pick it up. It's #1. It'll be #1 for a while now. How do you write? Like, I mean, are you on a computer writing? I mean, do you write at a certain time of day?
Actually, interestingly, both President Clinton and I we write by pencil. He wrote his 1,000-page memoir all with pencil. I write everything with pencil.
I just talked to Billy Bob Thornton last week about writing a new project, too, and he said the same thing. He said, it takes me so long because I write everything in my own hand so nobody can steal it because they can't read my handwriting.
Probably given his thought process, even if they could read it, they wouldn't. I'm just watching Goliath, which is a lot of fun.
Oh, me too. Yeah, been loving that. Somebody said, does Mr. Patterson have security clearance, or how does he write such detailed sorts of novels?
Oh, yeah, no, I do not have I do not have security clearance. And in this case, I mean, obviously working with President Clinton, I mean, he knows how things work, so it was a real treat, and as I said, that's I think what makes the novel particularly worthwhile.
Absolutely. We got another one. Matt said, I love James Patterson. Fantastic books. The Alex Cross series was absolutely amazing. We got our friend down in Reno listening who said, I love your books, Mr. Patterson. You actually helped me escape my suicidal tendencies with your books. So thank you very much. It's got to be incredible to hear stories.
Yeah, I hope whoever that is can, whatever kind of help they need to get. So I'm glad I'm a little helpful.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's got to feel so good. Laura wants to know, will you ever do a sequel to The Jester?
I don't know. I really enjoyed that book. It's very different. That's a historical. They keep messing around every once in a while. Where somebody's, maybe going to do it as a one of those cable series. So we'll see. But probably, I don't know. Probably not.
We'll see. And how does it work with The President is Missing, a book like this? Did somebody option the film rights to this before it even came out?
Yeah, with Showtime. They didn't option it. They bought it out.
Okay.
So we'll be, it'll be they like it to run year after year, but it'll probably be 10 episodes. We're talking to the writer right now. And, once again, I think what it'll be is this nice mix of authentic detail about, what really happens with the president, and then a real page-turner in terms of a plot.
I can't wait. I'm very excited to, finish the book, of course, and then, of course, see the movie. The President is Missing is the newest novel from James Patterson and the first foray into fiction for President Bill Clinton. Before we go, Mr. Patterson, I know you're very passionate about literacy, about kids reading. We got a lot of kids in the audience and a lot of parents out there. Give us your quick plug for why kids reading is so important.
Well, parents and grandparents. I mean, especially in the summer, they got to read. We have a really long summer. More than almost any country in the world. And if kids don't read, they have this summer slump, and they lose like half of what they learned the year before. They got to read, and there's a lot of cool stuff. I have an imprint at Little Round called Jimmy Books, and our mission is when a kid finishes a Jimmy book, to say, please give me another book, and as opposed to I don't like to read. Mm-hmm. And if your kids can't read, I mean, it really holds them back in terms of, their potential for just different choices in terms of what they want to do when they get older.
Absolutely.
So it's really important that they at least become competent readers.
Hey, well, as somebody who can read, Mr. Patterson, I love what you do for literacy and, just all the donations you make and all the support for libraries and reading programs across the country. So thank you for your contribution to all those libraries, since 1 out of 17 hardcover books sold in America is your book. You're incredible as an author. You're a great man, and thank you for all your contributions. I appreciate you taking the time for us today.
This is a great interview, so thank you very much.
Thank you, James. Bye-bye.